break. And the reception by MP. And it's out of bounds. The Cavaliers able to retain.
Return to sender.
Game, but let's face it, that three-point shooting is what puts him on a whole nother level.
All right, so here's a glimpse at the build. It's a 98 overall, shooting guard, two-way sharpshooter. Forgot to mention in my last defensive video, I'm not a big man, not able to get crazy blocks, but as I upgraded the character, did some things to it. It made sense. I'm not going to do a full build video on what I was thinking with that, but there's a shot of all the stats. It looks very similar to the build that I had last time. The only difference is I had to go up on the speed and perimeter, like I said, to get that glue takeover. So coming out of there, get into the good stuff. First of all, this is an update to the last video. As a guard, 6'5", how to get the defensive specialization quicker. I did change up how I decided to do it because, as it was stated, it was already hard before. But I didn't mention that I was on a small build, but I'm making some progress. So the first thing that I would do is go in here and go ahead and get your boost going. So I get me a 10-pack of steals and some blocks. And then I just kind of add that as I go on. I don't really worry about the turbo boost much because I'm working offline. Not going to waste any VC on that. I'm going to save this part for later. So to get into it, one of the things that I do now that this character is kind of developed, you see my build here, my different badge setups. Playing in street ball, the Street Kings, all my career, I want to maximize what I do in my stats. So what I do is to get more steals, I go Hall of Fame on ball minutes. This gets me getting them bumped down. They lose their adrenaline. When they get to about 2 or 1 adrenaline, it's the perfect time to go for the steal. I can turn them over sometimes. So I get maybe 1 or 2 of those a game. That works in conjunction with the immovable enforcer. Same thing. Just gives me more chances to wall them up. And when they back off, I can make the steal. Challenger is something that I think it may help. Not necessarily on all of them, but like when you get the goal too, it's probably something that's going to help me more. Definitely they're going to miss the shot. But I think it might be something to using that. What I tend to do though is this is when I'm gonna put glove on. I may do it this way or I'll flip it up. And because I have that movable enforcer, I'll try to do that. And by switching these up, this is actually a good fit for what I'm trying to do. Another variation that can be done is I can throw interceptor on in there. And this is when you can bait the computer in the, throwing the ball back in between you, and this just increases the odds of me getting the steal. Same thing can be said for if I switched it up and I made glove gold. And if I really want to bait them, let's say I'm playing a bunch of power forwards and they got weak passing, this is what I do. So different bad setups can kind of help me get to where I'm trying to go on that. I'm gonna get into it. Takeovers. I got a custom couple takeovers that I was using initially. Before I got the custom takeover, I was using defensive presence. This was a good help. The steal, the block, and the perimeter each boosted by 5 with the steal boosted by 6. That 70 block becomes real when you use that, especially when you're trailing the guard. You can come and make blocks. So my vertical isn't very high. It's about 65, but I get crazy blocks now. And the same thing, that perimeter D just helps me with the bumps. And again, get a couple good bumps, then I can make the steal. But these are my favorites. So I use this one here in particular because it's a weak point. It helps me get blocks. It helps boost my interior D. That's what I kind of lab with. But I found myself choosing this one I call one in custody. If you know, you know. But it gives me a boost to interior D. It gives me a boost to perimeter D. And it gives me a boost to block. Like I said, steals, they come a dime a dozen. But I can really do some things because the block is where I make most of my moves. So with my badges being mostly steal focused, I let my weaknesses of my build, I improve those by adding block to it. So last time I had a different thought. Again, I'm a 2 guard. So I say you want to follow the mold that I did to get the wins on 20, the win 20 games. Go ahead and do that in the Street Kings. You do that because the more takeovers you get, the closer you get to getting your custom takeover. You get your custom takeover, now you can do what I did. You can start adding things to your block. You can add to your interior just to give you an opportunity to make better blocks. Same thing with the contest. This is where I switch up my badges, and not only am I going to wall them off with the on-ball minutes, but I'm going to get those contests. But I put the right badges on for that. This particular one, I say you got two options. If you're still trying to get your takeover, stick to Street Kings because you're going to burn through the games so quick. And you can also do this in the athletics gym. Again, the games are so fast, you should get takeover every game and accelerate getting that. But if you already have your takeovers down, I say go to my career, play them long games, and always guard the best player on the team. It's only going to be on pro. You don't want to be on rookie where you can't, they're not going to move. They're just going to get stymied, pass the ball around, and get turnovers. But pro is good enough where it's simple. You shouldn't fail too many times, but at the same time, they're going to be a little aggressive and try to take advantage of you. So, case in point, you play the Lakers. I'm either guarding Luka or I'm guarding LeBron because likely not going to stop LeBron, but I know he's shooting, and that's my thing. If they're going to be shooting the ball or when they get the ball, I'm going for the block and the contest. I'm also helping out off ball. You're going to fly through that one. The next one, this is where I think I had a little bit of a challenge. But again, with that clock resetting, go back to your Street Kings because, again, you're going to be chopping up wins. What I particularly did with this is since I realized I was going to play a lot of Street Kings, I got in there and I played those characters 5 times because, every time you play them, you eventually get to an upgraded version of them that you can use later on. So not only are you building up your teammates, but now you can get to your 50 games much quicker. So I got my lockdown strapped in emote, and this is where I am now. I think last time I had it up here, I was at about 20. That was maybe 3-4 days ago. Now I'm making a little progress. You see now that my badges have been upgraded to where I need them to be. I went from having like maybe 12 steals. I got 46 now. And the same thing with the blocks. I think the last time I was up there was like somewhere around the 30s. I'm at 105. So I found a nice little combination. And like I thought, when my stick skills get up and you start to learn how to manipulate, I only got an 80 agility. So I really had to practice not using turbo when I played D. Really try to square up my chest to the other player's chest. And again, this is not like it's online and they're doing crazy dribbles. You can wall off some good players just by playing simple left stick defense. And that's where I am. So that's the update that I have. I already seen a couple times that I'm going to be able to do this one. Goal 5 is going to be challenging, but it's going to follow the same formula as Goal 4. I'm likely going to go to my career for that, play those long games, get more opportunities, especially against teams that have small guards or they got people that like to crash the rim, and I can kind of come off for, like I said, that Dwayne Wade weak side block. And I'm liking what I got so far. I did have to think about, do I go ahead and try to do a rebirth, as somebody mentioned in my comments? I'm not quite there because I do believe in get your one build and you learn them inside out. But apparently these boys are different online with these 7-4. So I'm going to think about it. I definitely like playing the 2 guard. And when I get into my build video, I'll let you know why I can stick with this. And it's going to be basically centered around takeovers because I made a decent character. I think it's unpatchable because no matter what they do, he's going to be decent all the way around. And then that's when I just got to be nice. So tell me what you think. You can see the progress. I'm moving and grooving right now. And if you got any thoughts or ideas, let's see. But like I said, old boy said, don't pick this one. And I'm going with a small character. Challenge accepted.